Welcome to the Sykes Company PA video blog featuring Ollin Sykes. Today we're talking about 4 traits of successful independent pharmacy owners. Tell me the first one.
Yeah, and these are coming really from real live experiences we're dealing with day in and day out with pharmacies, and probably one of the most successful pharmacy operations that a pharmacy owner can make sure occurs each day is making sure that the daily point of sale reports and bank deposits at end of the day tie into the actual daily deposits that are made at the local bank. And you might say to yourself, well, it sounds very fundamental. Yeah, naturally I do that. But let's think about that just a minute. We run a point of sale reports. We zero out the registers at the end of the day. Let's say there's $10,000 of cash and checks in that register. And let's say we got one person counting the register. We've got one person reporting back to the owner, this is what we have. That same person next morning goes to the bank and makes that deposit. Well, the question then to you as pharmacy owner is that $10,000 getting in the bank the next morning? And you might say, well, yeah, I think it is, but do you know it is? We've had instances just this year where we've had the person in charge, bookkeeper, office manager, whatever, removing cash from that $10,000 deposit from the previous day. And let's just make an assumption there was 2,000 cash and 8,000 checks. And perhaps she wrote a check for $500, removing $500 of cash, so it balanced it into that at day one. She next morning goes across the street, or he goes across the street, makes that deposit, and that deposit is for $9,500. And that $500 check that was written for cash to make that deposit balance the previous day was removed. So the pharmacy only is getting $9,500 credit from that $10,000 take the previous day. And the pharmacy owner is too busy to go online to check and make sure that deposit that actually is showing on his online banking activity didn't agree. We've had a situation where we've had some substantial losses occur as a result of that, and it's fundamental. You balance out your point of sale report, make sure you understand what your deposit is. When the deposit goes in the bank the following day, that deposit slip or some kind of indication from that bank needs to come back to you, be put in front of your face to show that that deposit is in, and or you need to go online to check it. And it's very fundamental. And a successful pharmacy owner is going to do that. The ones that aren't successful don't have time. They think it's too much of a hassle. But I'm telling you, it's a critical control issue right there.
That makes a lot of sense. And then what's our second trait?
Well, once that process is completed, it is very important that that pharmacist and or his staff that is working in the back office make sure that that daily point of sale reporting information is entered into their QuickBooks system. And because 99% of our clients are using QuickBooks in their operation, the reason they need to enter that information into the system is to keep essentially a real-time cash and reporting mechanism in your accounting system to keep that system pertinent, to keep it relevant, to make sure that accounting system is showing the reconciled cash balance on an ongoing basis without waiting to the end of the month or the end of the quarter to reconcile it and tie it back in. And it's just a natural progression of, pulling the point of sale report, making the deposit, recording the information, making sure it's in the system, and then tracking it from there. And those are, again, very important factors that need to be handled, whether somebody in your office is doing it or whether, in our case, we're doing that for a lot of the pharmacy clients that we're involved in. And then, of course, at the end of the week, we're providing typically a status report to them showing essentially what they have collected in terms of cash checks, what they have spent, and give them a general status report that ties it right back into the QuickBooks file. But somebody somewhere along the line needs to make sure that's taking place. And again, that's a very, very important trait of a successful pharmacy owner, no question.
What's our third trait?
Just making sure those daily dispensing summaries are reviewed by someone in the pharmacy, either a pharmacist or a highly competent tech, for any kind of rebilling opportunities that occur literally on a daily basis. And again, the more successful pharmacies are doing this, they're catching errors, they're catching problems, they're catching them on the spot, they're correcting them while things are timely, while they can check things and do things very quickly. And it's just part of getting that normal day-to-day process. And again, it becomes a feature that the very successful pharmacies are doing automatically, just part of their day-to-day process.
That's great. And what's number four of our traits?
Okay, I'm beginning to see this kind of evolve through technology, and the internet, i.e., the cloud, has now made uh, available to pharmacies, independents, a tremendous number of outsourced type of products that they can use to make sure that they're buying correctly, that they're buying in the most efficient fashion, that their inventory, perpetual inventory levels are being kept at optimal levels, whether they have one store or multiple stores. And these cloud-based services that are in existence today are really providing some real value of significant savings on a monthly basis. And those pharmacies that are successful are reaching out and grabbing these technologies fast and furiously, and those that are living in the past are not. And it's that pure and simple. If you don't use those technologies to help you become and stay profitable or even more profitable, it's either optimizing your purchasing, which is increasing your gross margin, optimizing your perpetual inventories, and you keep it in mind, in a pharmacy, you got not $10 bills sitting on the shelf, you got $100 bills sitting on the shelf. So the more lean they can keep the inventory, and the just-in-time process that they can typically have in play by ordering the previous night and or afternoon, having in the pharmacy the previous morning. These correct tools that are out there today will allow you to optimize that. And without mentioning any brand names or products that we see in process here, perhaps we could do that on another video sometime. But there's just a whole host of products that are out there today, some of which are not being readily used by many pharmacists that are there. But these are successful traits that we're seeing pharmacists use to maximize their profitability, Rachel, and it's just very important that all aspects of these are considered.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want more information or have any questions, please feel free to contact Ollin directly.